Previously on Third and Roll.
This Ottawa offense is explosive, and or this Argos defense is implosive. Wow. Norman, was that a 60-yard run there?
I lost track of the number of yards there. He just kept running until they told him to stop.
It is an age of Canadian football domination. In the West, the Edmonton Eskimos are a dynasty without equal. Behind the quarterback tandem of Tom Wilkinson and Warren Moon, the Eskimos have won 5 consecutive Grey Cup championships between 1978 and 1982. In the East, 4 teams battle it out through a 6-game season to see who will meet Edmonton in the championship game. The Toronto Argonauts have not hoisted a Grey Cup since 1952. Will this be their year? Let's find out. This is Third and Roll.
Welcome to Third and Roll, a Canadian football board game podcast. This is the podcast where we play the 1985 board game Canadian Armchair Football and role play a broadcast from the 1980s. My name is Spencer. This is my brother Alex.
Football. This is
episode 25. We have reached a quarter century of Third and Roll episodes. This is the 4th quarter of the Eastern semifinal coming up. The Argos are in a fight to save their 1980 season. Reminder, these playoffs are sudden death, so if either Toronto or Ottawa loses this game, they are eliminated for the remainder of the season. So if that's not too much pressure, let's go back up into the booth for Edward Welch and Norman Knuckleberger as we are about to start the 4th quarter. Norman, how about that play from Terry Metcalf at the end of the 3rd quarter there?
That is like being born again from the dead, new life in the Argos, momentum their way.
I'm back, baby!
And right in time to take us to the beginning of, I can't believe we're here. There is nothing like 4th quarter in the playoffs. You see that clock tick down to 0. That is ticking down to the 0 to the end of an entire year for one of these teams. This is it, the fight to the death. This is why we're here. This is the moment. I can't wait.
Everything these teams have been working for week in and week out, it is so that they can pull out a win here in the Eastern semifinal. And once again, the winner will move on to Hamilton next time.
And what does winning mean after all? It means you have more points when the clock runs down to 0. That's what it's all about. So this clock is ticking down to fate right now.
On the field after that successful extra point is
Zenon Andrushishin.
Getting ready for the kickoff. That is a 55-yard kick from Zenon that will bring the ball down to the Ottawa 10-yard line. And Ottawa picks up a very impressive 25 yards on the return. So that is going to set up first down Ottawa from their 35-yard line. Ottawa wasting no time here. We have Holloway handing off to Crump. It's a run over center. And it's a pickup of 6. 6 yards there on the play. Going to bring up 2nd and 4. Holloway going for the short pass to Metcalf. Metcalf picks up 5. So Metcalf just squeaks it over the line there, and that's going to bring up
First down, Ottawa.
Holloway hands it off to Crump. Crump doing an end run. Whoa! Dolly! Crump. That is a 25-yard pickup. This is the game of the end run here, Norman, because this could be the end of one team's run into the playoffs. Holloway going for a screen pass now. It's complete for 5 yards to Crump. And Crump picks up an additional 2 yards in the air. So that's going to bring up 2nd and 3 for Ottawa. Another run over center. And on 2nd and 3, who is there? Bruce Clark pushes him back for a loss of 2. That is going to bring up 3rd down.
It ain't over yet.
And we've got Jerry Organ coming out onto the field. This is going to be a kick from the Norman. What is that? Is that the 35-yard line?
34-yard line.
Thank you, Reels Pedden. So that would be a 41-yard field goal. Jerry Organ. Kick is up. That kick is wide. It goes through the end zone. It's only a single point there for the Ottawa Rough-Riders, but it is 26-14. So it's a 12-point lead here for Ottawa with 12 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter.
I mean, are they playing football or are they playing soccer? Because they've been going for single points now. If it keeps going like this, maybe Toronto will have a chance to catch up if they remember what game they're playing.
The game is 7-card high-low with a buy on the last card. And just to make it more interesting, the man with the axe takes off.
We know that in Canadian football, there's nothing wrong with scoring a single point. It's got a great name that we don't say that often because there are some other pedants out there who will point out that when the ball goes out through the end zone, that's not a rouge. It's only when the ball is downed in the end zone that constitutes a rouge. So that, on that particular play, because the ball sailed out through the back of the end zone, is a single point.
Now, did you follow all that?
What ho there, listener. Edward Welsh here. Welcome back to my parlor. Please, take a seat. When last we spoke, I was sharing how the Eton Wall Game led to me catching the bug for sports broadcasting. One moment stood out. The most important wall game of the entire academic year is played on St. Andrew's Day. The wall game is a morning game. You get up, you have your prayers, you eat, and then you go right out to that wall. 6 a.m. on the dot. Now, the St. Andrew's Day game is a perfect distillation of the English class system. In it, the collegers, an elite subsection within the Eton school politic, take on the Oppadons, who are the rabble. Of course, rabble within the confines of Eton is not the same as the rabble that you would see out there on Leicester Square. The collegers had a small pool of only 70 boys to choose from for their team, whereas the Oppadons, the rest, have a mass of over 1,200 boys to call from. Now you can imagine any general manager out there would much rather have a large pool from which to draw players. But the collegers have one distinct advantage. They own the means of production. They alone have access to the field, the furrow, which lies next to the wall. There they can practice. There they can strategize. And only if they deign to allow it may the Oppadons come out onto the furrow in which to practice for the game. We, the rest of the boys who weren't participating, we see are there perched on top of the wall. And there, in the early morning light, you see the collegers marching down from the far end of the field, arms locked together, aristocratic chins pointed upwards in the air. They march towards the field of play. The Oppadons, by contrast, come in a horde, spilling over the mountains, cheering, jeering. They sing songs with words I could not repeat, even in an intimate room like this one. Well, I can see now this is going to take some time, so we'll talk about this more later.
We are back. We've got Jerry Organ on for the kickoff. It's a short kick there, 45-yard kick. Brings the ball down to the Argos 20-yard line. Preston Young with the kick return. And Preston Young with another impressive run. He picks up 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45 yards, and he is on to the Ottawa side of the field. Well done, Preston Young. He is well over 100 or even 150 kick return yards in this game. He is having one heck of a day. All he needs now to top it off is one of his patented interceptions. But he will have to wait until the Ottawa offense is back onto the field because we've got Mark Jackson strutting right out onto the field. He's got a bit of a bounce in his step after that last touchdown, so 1st and 10, Toronto from the Ottawa 45. We've got Jackson. Looks as though he is going to hand it off to Metcalf here on a reverse. No, he hands it off to Terry Greer instead. And Terry Greer, showing a bit of speed there, picks up 20 yards there on the play.
First down, Toronto.
From the Ottawa 25-yard line. Looks as though during the third quarter break there, in a rare show of sportsmanship, both the Ottawa coach and the Toronto coach were conferring, and the Ottawa coach was handing out a little bit of instruction to Willie Wood on the mathematics of probabilities, and Willie Wood will attempt to use that as best he can in this first quarter to defeat the person who gave him that advice.
Yeah, what of it?
So, Jackson handing it off to Metcalf. It's an off left tackle. Metcalf! Ooh, probability is not going to help you there when you've got big Rick Sowita, the linebacker for the Ottawa Rough-Riders, plugging that hole, stops Metcalf at the line of scrimmage, bringing up 2nd and 10 from the 25-yard line.
Math is hard.
So we've got the Argos thinking they're in 3rd down territory here. It's 2nd and 10. They are going to go for a pitch out, and they pick up 5.
Well, I'm surprised by that call there to go for a run on 2nd and long, but yeah, they're living in all 3 downs right now.
3rd and 5 here. The Argos, it looks as though they're trying to set up a reverse to Greer here. No, it's a fake reverse. They hand it off to Metcalf. And Metcalf picks up 20 yards and he is into the end zone! Metcalf, wow, coming on here in the second half of the Eastern semifinal. This crowd here at Lansdowne Park, they are gobsmacked by the performance of this great running back.
Terry caused structural damage.
What a play there. 3rd down and 5 long yards, and they go all the way to the end. Argos making a statement here. They are not done yet. They are not going to let their season just fritter away. It's on the line right now.
Terry Metcalf, of course, born in Seattle, Washington, and true to his birthplace, he is making it rain here in the second half in Ottawa. So coming out onto the field for the extra point.
Zenon Andrushishin.
And the extra point is good.
And just like the element Xenon, he is noble. Our noble Zenon Andrushishin. Well, that's the first time I've attempted to pronounce his surname. I will not try again. He is Zenon
Andrushishin.
Wow. So with that, the Argos are within 5 with 5 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. Welcome back, everybody. So the Argos trying to rally here in the fourth quarter to keep their 1980 season alive. Again, whoever loses this game goes home. Whoever wins moves on to Hamilton. So Zenon is on for the kickoff. That is a disappointing 45-yard kickoff there for Zenon. Ottawa with the ball from their own 20-yard line. And they pick up 5 yards on the return. So that's going to bring up first down Ottawa from their own 25-yard line. 1st and 10 Ottawa from their 25-yard line. Handing it off to Crump. It's a run from option, and Crump gets met there by Bruce Clark.
Oh, that looked like it hurt.
Stops him at the line of scrimmage for no gain, brings up 2nd and 10, and wasting no time here, Holloway is going for a long pass. And he's got Gabriel over the middle. Gabriel, outstretched hands, but oh no. Gabriel.
Oh! Butterfingers!
Final minutes, fourth quarter playoffs. It comes down to those inches and whatever you call those littler units, micrometers or something that are smaller than inches. It comes down to the finest precision, deciding whether you survive or you die right off the fingertips. It doesn't get much closer than that.
Absolutely. Disappointing here for the Ottawa fans. That brings up 3rd and 10 from the Ottawa 25-yard line.
And the fans that a few minutes ago were almost in a laughing and mocking, jovial, festive kind of mood are now stunned into silence and wondering, can their team hang on to this very scant-looking 5-point lead?
Jerry Organ is on for the punt.
How many punts have there been in this game, Edward? It seems like this whole punting thing is an alien thing in this game. This has not been a game for punters.
The offensive performance, particularly from Ottawa, has been quite impressive, and you're absolutely right, Norman. There have been very few punts here in this game. And Jerry Organ there, that is a 45-yard punt. Toronto will receive the ball at their 40-yard line. Preston Young on the return. Preston Young, he picks up 10 yards, and what?
Don't you say it.
He lateraled the ball. Could this be the game here, folks? If this backfires spectacularly, and it doesn't. So, wow. I think Willie Wood will have some words for Preston Young when he gets to the sidelines, but in this particular case, they were able to pick up an additional 7, but still very risky. Very risky there. Not necessarily protecting the ball as one would when you have the chance to take the lead late in a playoff game.
Oh, the risk he took there was quite incomprehensible, and yet, once again, the beauty of the lateral. I keep saying putting everything on the line, but that's what it's like here in closing minutes of playoff football. It just seems like every motion of every player is just do or die. It is lives on the line. It is seasons on the line. Everything, an entire year concentrated into a single second, and everything matters to the finest detail.
So that is going to bring up
First down, Toronto.
From the Ottawa 53-yard line, and that play takes us up to...
This is the 3-minute warning.
So with that, we will be right back after this.
Greetings from the desk of Dr. Footius Ballunicus. In the western Welsh county of Pembrokeshire, the ancient game of Knappen was once played. As described by 16th century historian George Owen of Henlus, about 1 or 2 of the clock after noon begins the play, in this sort. After a cry made, both parties draw to in some plain. There is a ball prepared of some massy wood, and should be boiled in tallow, for to make it slippery and hard to hold. This ball is called knappen, and is by one of the company hurling bolt upright into the air. And at the fall, he that catches it hurls it towards the country he plays for. The play is not given over until the knappen be so far carried that there is no hope to return it back that night.
Welcome back, everybody. The Argos were down by as many as 18 points. They have scratched their way back to within 5. It is 26-21 Ottawa. Toronto on the road. They have less than half the field to go to win. And Jackson is calling for a run over center. So he hands it off to Metcalf. And Metcalf picks up 1.
Second down.
With 2 minutes and 55 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Jackson heading it right back to Metcalf. It's an off left tackle.
What do you think you're doing?
And Metcalf picks up 3. picks up 3, so that is going to be a 3rd and 6 now. So 2 minutes and 50 seconds remaining.
It's in that ugly gray area where it's just barely kickable as a field goal, but almost like too shallow for a punt. Wow. Not an easy call. All 3 options are on the table. Go for it, goal, or punt. But it looks like they're staying on the field.
I suppose theoretically you could score 2 field goals within the final 3 minutes of the game to win, but that is not what Willie Wood is thinking. He wants to win this game. He wants to hold on to the ball. And Jackson, Metcalf, Greer, et al. Are staying out there on the field.
It's showtime.
It looks as though they are trying to set up a reverse to Terry Greer. It's a fake reverse, and he gets stopped for no gain there on the play. That is a turnover on downs for the Argos. That brings up 1st and 10 Ottawa from their own 49-yard line.
Oh, I imagine if the Argos can't pull this one out, Brett Brannigan is going to have something to say about that drive. 3 running plays in a row that are not able to convert a first down. And now Ottawa has the chance to bleed out more clock.
You're listening to Third and Roll. Can I say the same thing but in Tamil? நீங்கள் கேட்டுக்கொண்டிருப்பது Third and Roll.
So Holloway back, hands it off to Crump, and Crump picks up 5. So 2 minutes and 35 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. It's going to be 2nd and 5 Ottawa. Ottawa going for another run. It's an off left tackle. Southwick comes up and plugs the hole and stops Crump for no gain. Whoa, brother. So this brings up 3rd and 5 now for the Ottawa Rough-Riders with 2 minutes and 25 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Jerry Organ. They're wasting no time. Jerry Organ is coming onto the field. So Jerry Organ with the punt. Trying to pin the Argos deep. That is a 45-yard punt. Argos with the ball at their 10-yard line. Preston Young on the return. Preston Young, he has got a wedge in front of him. Preston Young, he's found a seam. He's made it 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 yards down the field. Wow, what a return there by Preston Young.
What a run.
Takes it from the Argos 10-yard line all the way down to the Ottawa 50-yard line. And with 2 minutes and 10 seconds remaining in the game, Preston Young doing everything he can. Seems very often like the Argos have started their drives from the Ottawa 50-yard line. Seems like I've been saying that a lot. Got Jackson handing it off to Metcalf. It's an off left tackle. Metcalf picks up 8, so with 2 minutes to go in the game, it's going to be a 2nd and 2 Argos from the Ottawa 42-yard line. Jackson. Oh, it's a direct snap to Metcalf. It's a run over center. Ooh, a loss of 2 on the play there.
We're going the wrong way.
This is going to bring up a 3rd and 4 here for the Argos.
Similar call to what they had last time, but with fewer seconds left in the clock, there's absolutely no choice but to go for it here.
It's only a question of what they're going to pick with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. So with 3rd and 4, Jackson keeping the ball in his hands. It's a pass-on option. That ball is complete. It's complete to Terry Greer.
Greer? I've been looking for you everywhere.
For 10 yards through the air, so they got the first down and pick up 8 yards more on the play. So Argos converting on a crucial 3rd down completion there with 1 minute and 35 seconds remaining on the game. It will be
First down, Toronto.
From the Ottawa 26-yard line.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Coming up now, we have our interview man, Todd Gray, in conversation with the great Toronto Argonauts defensive back and kick returner, Preston Young. Todd, take it away. Preston, tell me, you you came into the league through a mechanism that might be a little bit unfamiliar to some of our listeners. Could you please share it with them?
So when I came into the league, it was in 1977. I was drafted by this team called the Saskatchewan Rough-Riders. I don't know if you ever heard of it. They're up there in the West just getting absolutely torched by the Eskimos every single season. I didn't have a choice, Todd, because they drafted me under something called the Territorial exemption. Because I was a Regina boy, they had first dibs on me. Even teams that had a higher draft pick, they couldn't pick me. Because going into the draft, Saskatchewan exerted its authority. And you know what? I don't blame them for it. We out here in the West, we gotta take care of each other. We gotta take care of each other, you know? If one day, if one man's barn burns to the ground, we all get together, and first we put out the fire. Number two, we put that barn back together. Obviously with new wood and new materials and all that, but it's a team mentality. I was on the Saskatchewan team. Now, these aren't the Rough Riders that you hear about these days. These Rough Riders, all one word, no hyphen, which I'm biased, obviously, but that to me, that will always be how you spell Rough Rider. I got a little sidetracked here. After my rookie season in 1978, I got traded to the Toronto Argonauts. And that was a huge change. You know, I'd never really been to a big city before. Obviously, you go a little bit when you're on the road, but I never lived in one. You know, I went to university at Simon Fraser University, but no one's going to compare Halifax to Toronto in terms of being a big city. Halifax is a city, obviously, but it's not a big city. But just being there in Toronto has been great. Because not only do they give me the run of the secondary, sometimes you might think I was the only player on the defensive secondary for Toronto with how often I'm flying around the field and making all the tackles past 15, 20 yards downfield. The Argos also gave me the chance to return kicks. And there I get to be the sheep. And I am trying to break away from the flock. That was a whole new experience. And you know what? I loved it. And I never want to give that up.
Jackson handing it off to Metcalf, another run over center. Metcalf, gets pushed back again. A loss of 2 there on the play. So a minute and 25 seconds remaining. It's a 2nd and 12 from the Ottawa 27-yard line. Jackson going right back to Metcalf for an off left tackle this time. And it's complete for an 8-yard pickup.
There's a flag on the play.
Oh, these last-minute penalties are ugly business.
The ruling on the field, offside on the defense. That is a 5-yard penalty. Offside on the defense.
So if the Argos were to accept this penalty, it would bring up 2nd and 7. If they declined the penalty, it would be 3rd and 4.
Whatever shall we do?
The Argos are accepting the penalty. The Argos need to get to the 16, so it's going to be 2nd and 7 from the Ottawa 23-yard line.
Wow. One little flinch. Could that be the little flinch that cost Ottawa their postseason run?
Well, let's hope so. So it's a minute and 15 seconds remaining.
Just the twitch of a defensive lineman just over-anticipating and ready to stop the Argos just went a second too early. And the silence is deepening in this stadium.
Jackson to the screen pass. And that ball is incomplete. Goodness. This is it, folks. This is bringing up 3rd and 7. There are a minute and 5 seconds remaining in the game.
Your shot.
Jackson, he's got the Argos 1980 season in his hands, and he is going to keep it there. He is looking for a pass from option. And he found Greer! That ball is complete for 15 yards. And Greer picks up an additional 3. Oh my goodness. Whoa, the Argos are within 5 yards of taking the lead for the very first time in this game with 50 seconds remaining on the clock.
Well, if you're only going to have the lead for 1 minute in the game, it's a good choice for it to be the last minute of the game.
So who is Jackson going to go to here? The breakout star of the second half here. He is handing it off to Metcalf. Metcalf going for the end run. Ooh, Metcalf gets pushed back. A loss of 3 there on the play. That brings up second and goal from the 8-yard line.
2 more shots for the Argos here.
Jackson going right back to Metcalf, going to the left-hand side now. And Metcalf busts through the line and into the end zone! Oh my goodness! The Argos players are running out onto the field. They cannot believe it. They have a 1-point lead with only 35 seconds remaining in the game. Willie Wood is screaming at his players to get back onto the sideline. He does not want them to take a penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct or too many men on the field. He is trying to keep things under control, but how could you be when the Argos are in the midst of an historic comeback here, coming down from 18 points. They have the lead with 35 seconds to go in the game. Wow.
I think you said it all there, Edward. It's moments like this where it just takes some time to sink in. I don't even know how to react at the moment.
Willie Wood doing some thinking here.
Well, with the lead by 1 after the touchdown, the natural call is to go for 2 to try to match a field goal. Although on the other hand, if they go for 2 and fail, they'll only be up by 1 point, allowing Ottawa to tie with a single.
That is exactly what Willie Wood is wondering. But he is saying, we're putting it all out here on the line here in Ottawa. He is going for it. So they are going to scrimmage from the 5-yard line. Jackson going for the short pass. And that ball is, incomplete. Incomplete there. So Ottawa has a chance here.
Bold call to go for the pass there on the 2-point attempt.
So coming onto the field for the kickoff.
Zenon Andrushishin.
It's always easy to judge gambles after the gamble, but now here it is. Final seconds, the slimmest possible lead, all down to the final second.
Zenon with a most powerful of kicks, an 85-yard kickoff. I think that's the first time this has happened all year, Norman.
That is at the very back of the 20-yard end zone, the longest possible kickoff.
The very end line, Ottawa with the ball, picks up a 30-yard return, takes the ball down to their 10-yard line. Goodness. There are 25 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. Holloway will be wasting no time going straight for the long pass. That ball is up, and it's incomplete. Incomplete. 15 seconds remaining.
Second down.
It's a pass-arm option. It's complete. Ottawa has a first down, and they pick up 15 yards in total. So that's going to be a 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line with 10 seconds remaining in the game.
That field is looking so long and the clock looking so short. They're just reaching for the stars here.
So Holloway looking to find Gabriel on a deep route. It's complete. It's complete. That's a 30-yard pickup to Gabriel. And Gabriel picks up an additional 35 yards. Oh, goodness. That play took up all the remaining time. So there's zeros on the scoreboard, but that means that it's time for one last play. Ottawa with the ball at the Toronto 20-yard line. Jerry Organ. This crowd is getting quiet. It's a hushed anticipation here over the crowd. This would win the game and send the Ottawa Rough-Riders on to Hamilton for the Eastern Final. The kick is up. It is wide. The ball is wide, and it is caught by Preston Young at his own end line at the very back of the end zone. Preston Young, he has to get out of the end zone. If the Argos concede a single point, this game will go into overtime. Young, he's made it 5 yards, 10 yards, 20 yards. He has some Ottawa players closing in on him, and he does a spin move. Preston Young dives and he makes it out to the 2-yard line. He downs the ball at the 2-yard line. The Argos, they avoid giving up the Rouge. They bring the ball out of the end zone. That is the last play of the game. Folks, these Toronto Argonauts, they are going to live another day. So, wow, I cannot believe it. Here in Ottawa, final score, Argos 27, Ottawa 26. This hometown crowd is stunned. These Argos are jubilant. They are elated. They cannot believe it. So close there for Ottawa. They had him in the end zone, but Preston Young, by far the standout of this game today, makes it into the end zone and saves the Argos for another day.
Wow. It's the atmosphere of the road win, completely stunned crowd in deathly silence, broken only by the howls of victory from the mob of visiting players on the field. Jerry Organ is going to need an armed escort out of here, missing a 27-yard field goal attempt that could have won it. What happened to Ottawa? That is up to them to figure that out. But as we are an Argos biased podcast, we are just so happy that somehow, from the depths of complete destruction, the Argos have managed to claw their way back to a final second 1-point victory, the narrowest possible win they could get at the very last second. Somehow, they have found a way.
Wow. So next time, the Argos will be in Hamilton for the Eastern Final, and the winner will face the Edmonton Eskimos in the Grey Cup.
Next time on Third and Roll.
Toronto
versus
Hamilton.
Round 3. Fight!
Third and Roll is an independent Canadian football board game podcast recorded in Toronto, Ontario in 2020. Today's episode features the voices of Spencer, Alex, and Subi.
This works for me.
Thanks, Subi. This episode was edited by
Spencer Adams from Toronto.
Our cover art was illustrated by Bryce Hall. If you'd like to support the show, please tell a friend or leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or whatever podcatcher you use. You can reach us on Twitter at Third and Roll or by email at thirdandroll, all one word, @gmail.com. Our theme music is Magic Mountain by Jazzar, used through a Creative Commons Attribution license at freemusicarchive.org. New episodes every Wednesday. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on Third and Roll.
I'm not an afterthought, Spencer, but I'll move on.